welcome back to BoardGameGeek's continuing coverage from the SPIEL 2019. And I am joined this time by John from Genius Games.
That's right.
And you are going to burn my brain with Lovelace and Babbage.
Well,
okay.
Hopefully it won't be that bad. But so if anyone here is familiar with Lovelace and Babbage, you know that this is an Artana game. I'm with Genius Games, but we just acquired Artana at Gen Con of 2019. So that's why you might see the Genius Games logo here, but then an Artana game, which is, and we love the logo, they go well together. So Lovelace and Babbage, what we're going to be doing in this game is we are going to be programming the world's first computer, okay? Now, if you think you know anything about computers, get that out of your head. This is the first computer, right?
Done.
Basically, what's going to be happening are you've got these objective numbers that players are going to try and achieve, all starting at the number 55. So you have a pen and I'll have a pen. And now it's going to be kind of semi-real time, but don't worry, we won't start the trigger yet here. I'll show you how the game plays through, and then maybe we'll do a real-time round real quick or try it out. But basically, what's going to happen is you'll notice you have a 2-digit number right here, 55. Your number that you're trying to create has to stay in between 1 and 99. Always 2 digits, okay? And 2 digits meaning 0 and 9 is still 2 digits. So you're starting at 55. If you want to add 1 to that, you would program in an A1.
Okay.
And then you would put minus, so A1 minus. Or if you wanted to subtract 1 from it, you'd put A1, or sorry, yeah, A1 minus would be to subtract 1, A1 plus would be to add 1. If you wanted to do the same with 5, add or subtract 5, you would put A3. Why would you be moving this number up and down? Well, I'm trying to hit these numbers right here. So as an example, let's see here. Once we start, what we'll do is flip all these so everyone sees what we're going for, okay. And then it's kind of real time, where you and I are now racing to enter in the numbers. Once you feel good about where you're at, the first player that feels good about it will grab this timer and flip it. And now everyone has 1 minute to finish and feel good about where they're at. Okay. The next player will grab the second player marker, and then the third player, and so on, all the way down to 4 players. Why the turn order matters here when you're selecting is because the player who takes the first one is going to get to do their program before other players.
Okay.
So they want to be the fastest to get to the numbers that they can get to, but they also are now going to get to program them first. So let's do a mock round. We won't do it real time, but let's imagine that I am going for, let's say, the 6-9 right here.
Okay.
I could then do something like, there's a couple different ways I could do this. I could add 10, let's say, to my 5-5, and that would put me at 65, right? So if I went B1 plus. Now here's the other thing. I can't write down the answer, right? So I've got to keep it all in my head, right? Like the computer does. You got to keep it all in your head. And so you might, I don't know what you'd want to go for here. Maybe you're going for the 58. The 58 would be pretty easy because all you'd have to do is A1 plus and A2 plus, and you'd be there. But so we'd be doing this in real time, competing. As soon as either one of us feels good about it, we grab that timer. So I'd maybe do a B1 plus, and then let's see here. And if you want to think about one you want to go for, go ahead.
Can you use the same coordinates?
You can.
Okay, yep. That's the main, okay.
And then maybe if 6, 5, I could go A3.
I notice there's also a very limited number, so these computers don't have very much memory for the programming slots. Or does it continue down? So if I fill this up, do I keep going? You
would fill this one up, and then you would have to be done there.
Okay, so we have very limited RAM that we're dealing with right here.
That's right. So if you are going for the 58, you'd probably want to do an A2 plus to save yourself a line.
Which I did not do.
And that's okay, because we haven't grabbed it yet, so you could...
I'm grabbing it.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so that now gives me 1 minute to finalize. And right now, I know I'm at 55, B1 plus. That's going to add 10, so I'll be at 65. A3 plus, that's going to add 5, so I'm at 70. I did A1 minus, now I know I'm at 69. I still have about 40 seconds if I could try and get from 69 to another number in 2 lines.
So it's not the number you end on, it's every number that you hit along the way?
That's right. Oh. Yes, that's right.
Oh, there's an extra. Oh, I wish I would have done this much different.
That's right, yep. And that's why I said you might want to do it tighter. Now, one of the things I didn't say earlier, I didn't want to complicate it yet, but every player is also going to start with these character cards. Now, this character here is Mary Somerville, and you've got Ada Lovelace over here, and I think this one is Charles Babbage. Yep, that's right. So each player is going to start off with a character. Before we were to start that round, we would select any one of these characters or any one of these cards here, and if we also achieve the number down here, this is going to give us a special ability throughout the rest of the game. So as an example, let's say this one, during a round, I can take up to 2 operations above my current limit. If you'll notice, you have these additional slots down here.
Okay.
That card would allow you to play on those. This one, if your operation result is within one plus or minus 1 of your patron, these are your patrons, you can still claim it this round. So I could have claimed the 70 after 2 of them, and you could have claimed your 58 by just going up to 57 once, right? And so these add in a little bit of variability. Once you achieve it, and you can achieve this number and say 2 of these along the way. Okay, but we didn't do that. So let's just ignore that for now, and I'll go ahead and stop where I'm at. Maybe I could have jumped down and gotten some other ones, but I didn't.
Right.
And there are 2 other things out here I haven't explained. We'll get to that in just a second. Okay, now here's what's going to happen. You took the first player. I, before that runs out, need to take the second player. Now, we don't have a 3 and 4 player right now, so we can get rid of those. Now what's going to happen is, in turn order, you are going to perform your first operation. So just your first one.
All right. Oh, just the first?
Just the first one, yeah.
So A1 plus, so that takes me up to 56.
Perfect, okay.
A1 is 1.
Now I'll perform my first operation. So B1 plus, that'll bring me to 65.
Okay, so if I, well, okay, and then it goes back to me.
Yep.
57.
There you go. And then I'll do A3 plus 5, so that brings me at 70.
All right, and A1 plus again gets me 58.
There you go.
So does this score me this one?
Now what happens is you're going to decide which of these 2 icons you want. And let's say you take the lightning bolt. Well, now we turn it so the one on top is the feather, meaning the lightning bolt is taken. What that gets you is you get to fill in one of your feather boxes down there. Or no, you chose lightning bolt, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And at the end of the game, the person who has the most in each of these columns is going to score 9 and 4 points.
Okay. Is this first and second place?
That's right.
All right.
So you would be in the lead for that one. Now you've finished all 3 of your operations. I get to go A1. I'm going to subtract 1. I'll be at 69. That allows me to choose one. I see you're going for lightning bolt, so maybe, you know what? I'm actually going to compete over the lightning bolts, and I'm also going to go for that one.
All right.
Hoping that later on I can get some of the magnifying glasses or something else.
Now, a couple things.
Yes.
I noticed that it's not who's ever first player goes through their list the next. It's one row at a time.
That's right.
So if I take a long time to get to my result, the other players still could. So you don't want to sit here and just go and as easily as possible. You really want to think to make those jumps as efficiently as you can.
That's right.
Darn it.
That's right. I know. That's okay. It's a learning game. We won't judge you. Don't worry. The internet has grace for you.
Oh, yes. So, okay, and the other question is, okay, how do these open up down here?
Yes. Now that this round is over, we will go ahead and flip these out just like that. And I'll explain a couple more things about what these can do. Okay, back up here. A4, what this does is it switches the 2 digits to the opposing locations. So the first time you play at 55, if you switch them, 55 is still 55.
Right.
But if I was at, say, this might be a good, you could have switched your 58 to an 85, or I could have switched this to a 96. That's what that does. Now this one divides or multiplies by 2.
Okay.
So I'm at 69 right now, or let's use yours as an example. That one might be a little easier. If we divide that by 2, I think we're at 29, right? 29. Don't ever do math live, right?
That's why I just sat here, sure, okay.
Yeah. So, you know, what's interesting here is you could have divided by 2 and then added 1, and you would have gotten a 30 as well. And you had the 2 lines available. But hey, we won't judge.
When we watch this back later, let's pretend I did that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I could have divided by 69. Now, if you divide by an odd number, here's what happens. You round down.
Okay.
So let's pretend this is, you essentially pretend it's a 68. We'd then be at a 34. I could have been at a 34. Was there anything I could have gotten? Probably not. Close to that one. I'd have to subtract 2 more times. I don't know if I could have gotten it. But that's basically what happens. This brings us to a 22 immediately.
Oh.
And that brings us immediately to a 44.
Just right to it.
Right, and this would have added 25, subtracted 25. The other thing I'll point out real quick down here, as soon as this, if you would have taken the lightning bolt and I would have taken the feather, now the only thing available is the sigma. So I could still get to 58. I would just cross off one of these right here.
Okay.
And that would be 1 point at the end of the game.
Okay.
These patron cards, there's 4 of them total. There's 4 rounds where I can get one. Each round, if I cross one off, it's going to be worth 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 points. It's a lot of points from that. And lastly, right here, you'll see C, D, and E. If I was to use a C, I'll get 1 point for this one. A D, 2 points, and the E's, 4 points. So there's a lot of different ways I can score points that add up throughout the game.
Yes, and it really always comes down to that efficiency that you have for thinking quickly to get to the numbers you want.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, one last quick thing I'll note is there's a debug. That means, so if you mess up a row here and you're like, I've got to get back to that number, you can take a debug, you're going to lose 3 points, but you can start back to where you need the number to be.
Okay.
So you're not lost.
Excellent.
And that's Lovelace and Babbage really in a nutshell.
It's just just beautifully elegant system in this game. Everything
think so.
just dovetails into everything else so nicely.
I think so. Scott Holmes did a great job with this one.
I absolutely agree. So if you'd like to find out more about Lovelace and Babbage, be sure to check out its BGG page and the Genius games, or still...
Actually both. You can find it on both. So you can find it on artana.com or geniusgames.org.
Perfect. All right. And what's the price point for it?
This is going to be $20 in retail in the US, and it's also €20 here at Essen.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, John, for joining me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. And thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye now.